Hey guys, welcome back. So what we're looking at today is 6.9, relationships with meaning. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So we want to state the volume and area formulas that are required below. So we're going to go through all of 1 together, just so that way you have all the formulas. So that way doing 2, 3, and 4 will be nice and easy. So area of a circle, area equals pi r squared, where r is the radius. So if you're given the radius, you just plug that in. If you're given the diameter, make sure you cut it in half and then plug it in for the radius. Volume of a rectangular prism is going to be length times width times height. So remember, it's 3-dimensional, so we have to multiply all 3 dimensions together. Volume of a cylinder is pi r squared h. Area of a rectangle is just length times width. Such as in this one, you just take 5 times 8 to find the area. For perimeter of a rectangle, you're taking 2 times the length plus 2 times the width and adding them together. So you take 2 times 5, which is 10, plus 2 times 8, which is 16. So 10 plus 16 would be 26 for your perimeter. The circumference of a circle, there are 2 equations for this technically. C equals 2 pi r as well as C equals pi d. So depending on what you're given, if you're given the diameter, then you want to use the bottom one. If you're given the radius, then you can use the top one. So you can use them interchangeably depending on what you are given. All right, so for 3 then, you're taking and looking at finding the perimeter and area for a rectangle, which I kind of already did for you in examples over here, sort of, without totally giving you the answer. For 2, you're finding the area and circumference, so make sure you find both. You are finding 2 things in all of these. For 4, you're finding the volume and the surface area. So remember, surface area, you have to find the area of all of the faces of this rectangular prism. So remember, it has 6 faces, and there's 2 the same. So like the area of the front here, 7 times 9 would be 63. That means there's also a 63 in the back. So we'd have 63 plus 63 plus, here we have 23 times 7. 23 times 7 is going to give us 161. So this side here is 161, as well as in the back on the other side. So we've got 2 161s, plus we've got the area of the top, which is 23 by 9. So we take 23 times 9, and we're going to get 207. And then we also have the bottom. So now we add all those together, and that's going to give you your surface area. So when we add those, we end up with 862. So your surface area is 862 feet squared. Your volume is much easier. We just take 7 times 9 times 23 to get 1,449 feet cubed. So volume is definitely a lot easier on that one, but surface area is completely findable. Okay? All right. The next section is looking at trigonometric ratios and connections between them. So trigonometric is your key word for this lesson, trigonometric. So based on the given trigonometric ratio, sketch a triangle and find a possible value for the missing side, as well as other missing trig ratios. Angles A and B are the 2 non-right angles in a right triangle. We are looking at 5 here. So we have the tangent of A is 3/4. So we need to sketch a right triangle. Mine's a little rough, but it's okay. We know tangent of A, so I'm going to make this A over here. Tangent of A means opposite over adjacent. So the opposite value is 3. The adjacent value is 4. So this, we've got our 3 and 4. We've got our right angle, and we know this is going to be B, so this will be C. So we need to find what the hypotenuse is. So 3 squared plus 4 squared. Get some more space. 3 squared plus 4 squared equals C squared. We'd have 9 plus 16, which is 25, equals our C squared. So 5 equals C. So our hypotenuse is 5. So then for finding our sine, cosine, and for A, Sine of A is opposite over hypotenuse, so we'd have 3/5. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so we'd have 4/5. Then we do it for B. So from B, tangent, opposite over adjacent, we just flip it, so 4/3. Sine, opposite over hypotenuse, so 4/5. And cosine, adjacent over hypotenuse, so 3/5. So that's what you guys will be doing for this section. Use what's given to you to create your triangle, find your missing side, and then fill in the rest of the ratios. And remember, the tangents between A and B, we just flip them. They're just reciprocals. Sine A is the same thing as cosine B. Cosine A is the same thing as sine B. So like over here, we have sine B is 8/17. That means cosine A would be 8/17. So it gets you that other value, okay? All right, given a right triangle with angles A and B as the non-right angles, determine if the statements below are true or false. So for cosine A equals 1 over sine A, this is false. They are not just reciprocals of each other. So B over C does not equal C over D. Then for tangent, tan B equals tangent of 90 degrees minus A. So what this means is if we take 90 degrees and we subtract A from it, the angle A, will we get the angle B? Yes, that's true. All right, for 11, tangent A times cosine A equals sine A. This is true. So taking A over B times B over C will give us A over C because the B's cancel out. All right. The last part we're looking at has to do with slope. Well, second to last part. So we want to find the slope of each line. So if we look, we can make a slope triangle. So there's a triangle right there. We've got a run of 2 and a rise of 2. So 2 over 2, which equals 1 over 1. So in this case, because it wants us to write it as a ratio of rise to run, we'll leave it as 1 over 1. So make sure these are fractions. Don't give me a decimal for them. All right, the last part we are looking at finding the missing side length in each right triangle, then determine the slope of the hypotenuse. So if we look at 15, we've got 17, 15, and question mark. So 17 squared equals 15 squared plus x squared. 17 squared is 289, I believe. Yep. 289 equals 225 plus x squared. We subtract the 225. So 289 minus 225 is going to give us 64 equals x squared. Take the square root, so 8 equals x. So this is 8 right there. So then in terms of what the slope of the hypotenuse is, well, remember, rise over run. So it's 8 over 15 is the other answer here. So you need both parts. You have to find both the missing side and the slope. All right, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Have a great day. Bye, guys.